Part 78. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 771. After all, if the soul body is borrowed to live in someone else's body, its strength will be much weaker. The highest level is the cultivation strength of the owner of the body, but his consciousness can be stronger. Since the other party chose this time to come, they must know their identities very well and want to take advantage of the month they entered the training place to take action against Luoluo. It's a pity that the other party never expected that he would take Luoluo with him into the place of training. But by some strange combination of circumstances, he temporarily avoided the other party. Yanxiangluo also knew that now was not the time to confront that man, so she immediately stood up and sat in Jizhong's arms. Jizhong hugged her, and she ducked into Pangu's space, and Pangu's space fell into his lapel. Anyway, she can't help with tomorrow morning. There are so many people in her space, and it's up to her whether they can get in or not. She knows very well what is more important and less important. It's good to know that the man's soul is in Lu Xing's body, at least he can be on guard. After Yanxiangluo entered the Pangu space, Jizhong noticed that Lu Xing seemed to pause for a moment and understood that his feeling was correct. Lu Xing's could sense Luoluo's aura. To be precise, it should be that the soul body borrowed from his body can sense Luoluo's existence. I just don't know whether he sensed Luoluo as a person or as a soul. Jizhong felt that what the other party sensed should be Luoluo's soul. Otherwise, how could we have captured Luoluo's soul last time? For a moment, Lu Xing looked away, and Jizhong narrowed his eyes. The afternoon passed quickly, and no one else came to Yunzhang Palace until night fell. After it completely darkened, the hundreds of powerful men from Yunzhang Palace did not come. Jizhong understood that the hundreds of powerful men from Yunzhang Palace should come tomorrow morning. After all, in their eyes, things should be under their control. There is no need to come in advance, which is not in line with their superior status. Jizhong sat cross-legged on the rock and began to meditate. After Yanxiangluo entered the space, she saw that her parents were also practicing. She glanced at the people who were isolated in one place with her spiritual consciousness. Without exception, they were all practicing. She did not practice cultivation, but went to the mountains far away, picked a lot of spiritual fruits and came back, piling up a lot. I worked in the kitchen for another night and made a lot of convenient meals. They were all packed in food boxes that preserve spiritual energy, ready for my parents to take with them. Sometimes spiritual energy is consumed too much, and eating food with spiritual energy is better for the body than taking pills to restore spiritual energy. It is better not to take elixirs unless absolutely necessary. Although the elixir she refined is no longer erysipelas, over-reliance on the elixir is not a good thing for practice. Early the next morning, Yanxiangluo looked outside and saw that the hundreds of strong men who had opened the training ground in Yunzhang Palace had not yet arrived. Xianxia and his wife have quit practicing cultivation. Seeing the food and spiritual fruits prepared by their daughter, they deeply realized that their daughter has grown up and can take care of them so well. The couple were not polite and put away part of the food and spiritual fruits prepared by their daughter. In case of separation, there will always be something to eat. This is the first time that the three of them have been alone together since they met. It seems that they have returned to the simple and happy life of the three of them in the small courtyard of Tianshan Empire. Father, Mother, what should we do with the Wei family? Yanxiangluo asked at this moment. Xianxia knew what his daughter was worried about. He said, "Don't think too much, there will be a way to the mountain. We just need to work hard to improve our cultivation. When we truly have the strength to crush everything, nothing will matter." Yanxiangluo's heart suddenly became enlightened. It was indeed true. In front of the real strong people, what did their relationship with the Wei family mean? As long as they are strong enough, what can the Wei family do to them even if they don't want to see them? Even if they are really related by blood to the Wei family, they were not born in the Wei family, nor did they grow up in the Wei family. They do not have strong feelings for each other, and they should consider more of interests. Although the demigod Wei Lan gave her a good impression and was very protective of her shortcomings, when the Wei family and Yun's Hang Palace faced her, which one would he protect? Yu Xianglou didn't dare to gamble. Her health and current life were hard won, and the burden on her shoulders was getting heavier and heavier, and no accidents were allowed to happen. She cannot make any mistakes because she is temporarily soft-hearted. Behind her are her relatives who really care about her. I understand. Yan Xianglou looked at her father's smiling face and said. Yu Chenjai also smiled, don't put too much pressure on yourself, it's not because your parents are still here. Yan Xianglou leaned on her father's shoulder, relying on him as she did when she was a child. Her heart seemed to finally have a harbor, and she responded softly, yes. Yu Chenjai enjoyed his daughter's dependence on him so much that he thought he would never see such a daughter again. Long Moran also smiled, knowing in his heart that in his husband's heart, he felt more sorry for his daughter. Here we come. Yan Xianglou felt a powerful aura coming from outside the space. She immediately looked out and saw a large group of people wearing white robes appearing in the sky. One look at their clothes and they can tell that they are all from Yun's Hang Palace, and the undisguised powerful aura on their bodies also proves that they are the hundreds of strong men who have come to open the training ground. Yuan Xianglou opened the space to her parents, so that Yan Chenjai and Long Moran could see the scene outside. Ji Zhong also quit practicing when he sensed the powerful aura. He stood up and looked at the hundreds of strong men suspended in mid-air across from him. Because he is invisible, and with his current cultivation strength, he can still hide his aura. He is indeed a strong man. This formation seems to be capable of destroying the heaven and the earth. The corner of Ji Zhong's lips curled up in an evil way. This was done to show to the people present. It was to let the world know how powerful the people in Yun's Hang Palace were, and to make the world feel awe and admiration for Yun's Hang Palace. Seeing the reactions of the people present, Ji Zhong knew that the effect Yun's Hang Palace wanted had been achieved. No wonder the monks from Zhuyuan continent obeyed Yun's Hang Palace's orders and tried to get in. But such a battle once every 3 years is enough to attract the world. At this time, a man also wearing a snow-white brocade robe from Yun's Hang Palace appeared in mid-air. Different from the brocade robes they wore, his brocade robe was embroidered with golden patterns. His position was higher than that of hundreds of powerful men, making people stunned. You can tell by looking at him that his status is higher than that of 100 strong men. Ji Zhong narrowed his eyes. In this case, the identity of the person coming was obvious. He should be the palace lord of Yun's Hang Palace. As expected, as soon as the man appeared, both those guarding the entrance to the land of calamity and those in the Yun's Hang Palace suspended in mid-air saluted respectfully, Palace Master. The Palace Master of Yun's Hang Palace raised his hand and said, no courtesy. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 772. Ji Zhong raised the corners of his lips sarcastically. He really had a plan. In the past, the master of Yun's Hang Palace had never appeared when opening the training ground. After all, the master of Yun's Hang Palace is a mysterious figure in the eyes of the world. Everything is handled by the people below him, and he is only responsible for issuing orders. Those who came to see the excitement were also shocked. The purpose of their coming was to see the legendary figure Ji Zhong. After all, the Ji family was making people feel anxious during this period, but they could not enter Zhuyuan city. I also want to see a scene where hundreds of strong men appear together. After all, such a scene only happens once every 3 years, and this time it has been 6 years since it happened. Many people have never seen what it is like to open a training ground. But no one expected that the palace owner of Yun's Hang Palace would actually come in person this time. Is it also because the person who wants to go in is Ji Zhong? Unexpected but also excited, their visit this time was well worth it. The palace master of Xuanhuan Palace and Jizhong could see it, and they could also experience the grand occasion when the land of training was opened. It was a worthwhile trip. After the people of Xuanhuan Palace saluted, the palace owner of Xuanhuan Palace raised his eyes and looked at the crowd. "Where is Jizhong?" He had a condescending tone, but no one thought there was anything wrong with him. No one in the crowd responded. They all looked at each other. They were also wondering why Jizhong, the person who wanted to go in, hadn't arrived yet. This person was too calm. Jizhong raised his hand to eliminate the invisibility mysterious marks on his body, and at the same time flew down from the air, as if he had used a teleportation array to teleport the mysterious marks alive, and was suspended opposite the palace master of Xuanhuan Palace. "Palace Master Yalao is here in person. Jizhong is extremely honored." Jizhong's voice was unhurried and not at all excited because he was the palace lord of Xuanhuan Palace. He spoke like a normal greeting, without any special respect. In comparison, they are all suspended in mid-air. Although Jizhong is alone, 99 strong men are standing behind the palace master of Xuanhuan Palace, and dozens of people below are guarding the entrance to the training place, but everyone can still see that the different temperaments of the two people. The master of Xuanhuan Palace looks like the leader of the force at first glance, but Jizhong exudes the aura of a king. Even if he stands alone, he is a born king. It makes people feel a sense of admiration. Everyone sighed in their hearts. Sure enough, he was the inheritor of the Ji family, the heir of the human emperor. This temperament was not something ordinary people had, and it came from the bones. The palace master of Xuanhuan Palace looked at Jizhong and shrank his eyes. What kind of cultivation level did he have? Why couldn't he see through it? It's impossible. He is one of the strongest people in the continent. How could he not see through someone's cultivation? Before coming here, he estimated that Jizhong's highest level of cultivation would be to break through to the level, but now he couldn't tell Jizhong's level of cultivation at all. It is impossible for Jizhong's cultivation level to surpass him in such a short period of time. There are almost no people in Xuanhuan continent who have surpassed his cultivation level. That is to say, there are a few old guys who have the same cultivation level as him. Because the door to Jizhong heaven is closed, you can only rely on longevity in Xuanhuan continent. Then there is only one possibility. Jizhong used Jizhong's mysterious pattern to hide his cultivation level. He didn't understand what Jizhong was doing. He could guess his cultivation level pretty well, so why bother hiding it? He knew that Jizhong's cultivation level had reached its peak and it was not suitable to expose it at this time. Therefore, Jizhong hid his cultivation level. This is the simplest for Xuanhuan. He is indeed a genius, like a monster, the palace master of Xuanhuan Palace praised lightly. This compliment was very careless, and Jizhong didn't care. After all, he was a rival, not a friend. He had heard too many compliments since he was a child, and even if he was sincerely praised, he wouldn't feel anything at all. "Thank you very much," Jizhong replied calmly. The master of Xuanhuan Palace stared blankly. To be honest, he would still like a genius like Jizhong if he were from Xuanhuan Palace, but he couldn't like the people of Ji family. They are destined to be their opponents. I feel a little regretful in my heart. It is a pity that such a young genius is not from Xuanhuan Palace. Since Mr. Ji has arrived, there is no need to waste time. The training ground will be opened as soon as possible, and Mr. Ji can go in and practice as soon as possible. The master of Xuanhuan Palace had a business-like tone. It seems that he came here just to open up the place of experience. "Thank you." Jizhong was also polite, with only 3 words. It was obvious that he didn't want to talk to the master of Xuanhuan Palace. The palace master of Xuanhuan Palace glanced at the crowd watching the excitement and said, "Because there are several people in seclusion and we don't know when they will be released. There is still one person short of 100 strong men. We cannot delay young Master Ji in going in for training, so I will take my place. What he said was telling everyone that our Xuanhuan palace keeps what it says. There are not enough people for me, the palace master, to personally take action. What he said stood at the highest point of morality. If anything happens later, it will be purely an accident, not them. Yun Shanggong is not dedicated. After all, he, the palace master, took action himself. It can only be said that Ji Kong was unlucky and did not have the luck to enter the first training place. Ji Hong raised the corners of his lips and made a good calculation. Unfortunately, it was him Ji Hong they met. If the palace master takes action personally, it will be absolutely foolproof. Ji Hong's words made the palace master of Xuanhuan Palace's heart skip a beat. This is a high hat for him. If it weren't for the secret of the matter, he would have suspected that Ji Hong knew his plan. Nothing is absolute. Even if I am the palace master of Xuanhuan Palace, I cannot guarantee that everything will be foolproof. We can only try our best. He didn't dare to admit that his participation in it would make the opening foolproof. Because he knew very well that this opening would end in failure, and Ji Hong would not be able to leave here alive. Ji Hong nodded and said, "It's understandable that the palace master is so cautious. After all, the last time he didn't activate it because something went wrong with hundreds of powerful men in Xuanhuan Palace." His words can be regarded as a public slap in the face of Xuanhuan Palace. Everyone knows that the reason why Xuanhuan Palace did not open the training ground last time was a bit far-fetched. It was just because the first place in the continental competition was from a lower-class continent. And he is not willing to enter Xuanhuan Palace. Therefore, Xuanhuan Palace found the reason that 100 strong men were not enough and cancelled the reward. Anyone can see that Yun Shanggong did it on purpose. The local monks from the mainland also agree with Xuanhuan Palace's approach. After all, they don't want the people from the lower mainland to weigh on him and prevent him from entering the first training place. They are happy to see the results. They all knew it was the same thing, but they didn't expect to say it so openly. These words were already considered a provocation to Yun Shanggong. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 773. Who in the entire continent dares to openly provoke Yun Shanggong? That's Ji Kong. At the same time, they also realized that although Ji Hong was from the Ji family, he was also from a lower continent. Did Xuanhuan Palace have any plans? Ji Hong said this to plant seeds of doubt in everyone's hearts. When things really happen, they will naturally think that Yun Shanggong did it on purpose. Although they will not resist Yun Shanggong, they may also agree with Yun Shanggong. However, the impression that Yun Shanggong did not keep his word was also deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. After all, even if it happens again and again, there is no guarantee that it will happen again. Public trust in Xuanhuan Palace will be reduced to an all-time low. The palace master of Xuanhuan Palace naturally understood the damage Ji Hong's words would do to the reputation of Xuanhuan Palace, but there was no way. There was an order from above, and even if he was the palace master of Xuanhuan Palace, he could not disobey it. The last time was indeed his own idea. He simply didn't want lower-class mainlanders to go to the first training place to practice, which would be a slap in the face to them. But this time it really wasn't his idea, but he had taken the blame. Who made him the master of Xuanhuan Palace? The world doesn't know that there is someone in charge of Xuanhuan Palace. They only know that he, the palace owner, has the best say. But now anything he says is wrong. The more he says, the more people feel that he is guilty, which can only make people think that he did it on purpose. Hence, he stopped talking nonsense and said directly to the strong man from Xuanhuan Palace behind him, "Let's get started." He can go back early if the matter ends early. As for what the world says, he doesn't care. Anyway, they were doing it in private, and no one dared to directly provoke Yun Shanggong. As long as Ji Zhong can't get in, other things will be out of his control. Then he said to Ji Zhong, Mr. Ji, be ready to go in. Ji Zhong responded calmly, okay. The palace master of Yun's Hang Palace looked deeply at Ji Zhong, and waved his hand. The god-level experts behind him immediately found their own positions. It was obvious that they were all familiar with how to open the entrance to the first training place. It probably wasn't the first time. Open the training ground. The master of Yun's Hang Palace finally landed at the entrance. In addition to his hundreds of powerful people above the level, they simultaneously released their own spiritual power and input it into the entrance. For a moment, the light of the spiritual power of the god-level strongman shone, and a door of light appeared on the cliff at the unremarkable entrance, but the door was still closed and did not open. The master of Yun's Hang Palace shouted, increase your spiritual power. As soon as he finished speaking, the light of spiritual power became stronger, and the door of light opened a gap. As the gap became wider and wider, the door slowly opened. Everyone held their breath, wanting to witness the opening of the door to the first training ground. They were envious that Ji Zhong could enter. But at the last moment, when the door was just about to open, one of the hundreds of strong men in Yun's Hang Palace fell from the air. It seemed that he had encountered some emergency, and he was already unconscious of falling. Because something happened to him, the power to open the first training place suddenly lost a link, and the door that was about to be opened quickly flashed with light. If you don't replace him in time, the door will be closed. The palace master of Yun's Hang Palace shouted eagerly, it's just a little bit close. Is there any god-level expert here who can help me? Yun's Hang Palace will definitely be grateful. He said this just for show, to make the people present think that he had tried his best. In fact, he knew very well that there would be no god-level experts among the people who came to watch the excitement. There may or may not be anyone willing to help. After all, no one is willing to let Ji Zhong go into the first training place to train. So he knew in his heart that the activation was about to fail. But at this moment, a spiritual force that was not inferior to his joined in, and in an instant, the door to the training ground was completely opened. The master of Yun's Hang Palace was stunned. How could this happen? Who took action? He turned around and looked over, and saw an old man with white hair, white beard, and white robes floating above them. The aura on his body was extremely ethereal, and he could tell at a glance that he was a powerful person. And the last force was sent by him. Who is he? In the mainland, only people with the ability to transcend tribulations can be called powerful. The master of Yun's Hang Palace himself has the cultivation level of transcending tribulations, but he has not yet reached the peak of transcending tribulations. However, the old man in front of him is obviously the peak cultivation level of transcending tribulations. 4. How could such a person come out and help Ji Zhong? Ji Ziaji, what are you still doing? Hurry in, Mu Changling said to Ji Zhong in a kind tone. Everyone understood that this old man really came here for Ji Zhong. Ji Zhong had long known that Yun's Hang Palace would not let him in, so he had already made emergency preparations. Ji Zhong saluted and said, "Thank you, ancestors." As soon as he finished speaking, he ran towards the opened light gate and flew into the air. At the same time, dozens of black figures rose from the ground and rushed towards Ji Zhong to attack, shouting, "Ji Zhong, take your life." Each of them is above the level, and they obviously want Ji Zhong's life. Ji Zhong ignored him. With Mu Changling here, no one could hurt him. Sure enough, Mu Changling took action, and his strong spiritual power was like a wall blocking Ji Zhong's front. Those people's attacks all landed on Mu Changling's spiritual wall, and were counterattacked one after another. Dozens of figures flew back, fell to the ground in embarrassment, and without exception were seriously injured. The behavior of a villain, Mu Changling said disdainfully. At this moment, Ji Zhong's figure disappeared into the light gate and entered the first training place. The light door closes immediately and will automatically open a month later to send out those who entered. Of course, the prerequisite is that you are alive. At this time, no one can change the fact that Ji Zhong has entered the first training place. The palace master of Xuanhang Palace was holding a breath in his heart. He could not go up or down. Everything was under his control. How could an accident happen? Who is this old man with a cultivation level no lower than his own? He actually ruined his plan. He still doesn't know how to explain it to his superiors when he goes back. No matter how many thoughts I had in my mind, I couldn't express them at this time. Thank you very much for your help. I don't know your name. Xuanhang Palace will send you a thank you gift. Mu Changling glanced at the palace master of Xuanhang Palace and said in a vague tone, no wonder this girl is worried about letting me, an old man like me, protect Xianxia. It seems that her worries are not unnecessary. His words let everyone know that the old man was someone that Yan Xiangluo knew and had a good relationship with him, otherwise he wouldn't be able to affectionately call Yan Xiangluo Luo Yetu. His words also revealed a message, that is, Yan Xiangluo had already known that Xuanhang Palace would do something to prevent Ji Zhong from entering, so he asked the old man to come just in case. The face of the palace master of Xuanhang Palace was so dark that black water dripped from his face. Before he could think of a way to restore some of the reputation of Xuanhang Palace, the old man had disappeared and left a word. Xuanhang Palace is nothing more than that. A simple sentence has reduced Xuanhang Palace to the dust. All I have to say directly is that your Xuanhang Palace is a place that is dishonest and unworthy of becoming the #1 power in the mainland. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 774. Mu Changling left. From the moment he took action to the moment he left, it only took a moment. He didn't leave his name from the beginning to the end, and he didn't even pay attention to the master of Xuanhang Palace. While everyone was speculating on his identity, they were also more embarrassed. It was not a good thing for a strong person to despise Yun Shanggong, and for them to see Yun Shanggong embarrassed like this. Now it seems that the master of Xuanhang Palace is not a generous person. If he is implicated, his life will be at risk. Hence, those who responded quickly left immediately. Anyway, they all saw what should be seen and what should not be seen. With so many people, the law does not punish everyone, and Yun Shanggong couldn't keep silent even if he wanted to. The person who was slow to react also reacted when he saw someone leaving. In a moment, no one was left watching the excitement. At the entrance to the land of refining, there were only 100 strong men from Xuanhang Palace and those guarding the entrance, as well as dozens of people who were lying groaning on the ground after being seriously injured by Mu Changling's counter-attack after attacking Ji Zhong. Everyone looked at their palace master. The palace master of Xuanhang Palace, his face turned extremely dark. Go and find out who he is. Yes, someone immediately responded and left. However, it is not easy to find someone who has no name or surname. If someone lives in seclusion and is deliberately not found, they may not be able to find the person even if they search the entire continent. The palace master of Xuanhang Palace looked at the trash on the ground, raised his hand and said, "Get it away quickly. It's so embarrassing." So many people took action together, but they didn't even touch the skirt of someone's clothes. It was the first time in his life that he failed like this. Although these people are not wearing Xuanhang Palace's clothes, anyone who is not stupid knows that these people are from Xuanhang Palace. If he succeeded, he could explain what he did on the grounds of suppressing lower-class mainlanders. Now that he failed, no matter how he explained it, it was just a cover-up. It was obviously a sure thing, and I had made 2 preparations, but it actually failed. This was something the palace master of Xuanhang Palace never expected. Now he was holding a breath in his heart, feeling extremely uncomfortable as he couldn't go up or down. However, the matter has become a foregone conclusion. No matter how high his cultivation level is, he cannot pull Xuanhuan out of the place of experience. What they want to do is to wait until Xuanhuan comes out of the training ground in a month. However, at that time, what else can they do to Xuanhuan? Is it possible that he should lead the powerful men from Xuanhuan Palace to directly confront Xuanhuan in an upright manner? Thinking of the above meaning, it was not impossible. His heart sank. The good reputation that Xuanhuan Palace had accumulated over the past tens of thousands of years would probably be wasted on Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan's talent is so scary. What level will he be in 1 month? The palace master of Xuanhuan Palace encountered such a difficult matter for the first time and had a headache. After all the wounded on the ground were taken care of, the hundreds of strong men were sent back by the palace master of Xuanhuan Palace, leaving only those who guarded the entrance before. The palace master of Xuanhuan Palace walked up to Lu Xing's and said, "Yan Xianglou has not come, what are you going to do next?" Lu Xing's glanced at the palace master Xuanhuan Palace. "Yan Xianglou is here, but you didn't notice it?" The palace master of Xuanhuan Palace was stunned. "When did you come?" "He has already arranged for people to guard various places, and they will definitely find out whenever Yan Xianglou appears. How could his people not notice when he comes? What kind of cultivation level does Yan Xianglou have? What kind of cultivation level does his person have? Isn't it possible? Last night, I left in a short time and used the invisibility pattern," Lu Xing said. The palace master of Xuanhuan Palace thought for a moment. Maybe she went back to Zhuyuan City again. It's very possible that only Zhuyuan City is the safest place for her now. Lu Xing glanced at the raised rock. He was sure that his feeling yesterday was not wrong. Yan Xianglou did appear on that rock last night, but the time was too short. Before he could confirm who had done it, he left. I have to admit that Xuanhuan was very decisive and avoided an unnecessary battle. "Are you going to Zhuyuan City?" asked the palace master of Xuanhuan Palace. Lu Xing looked back. "He can release a soul and come here. It is not easy to find a body suitable for his soul body to live in, and he cannot stay in this body for too long. His goal is Yan Xianglou. Now Xuanhuan has entered the first training place to practice. It will take a month to come out. This is the best time for him to deal with Yan Xianglou. What he wants is Yan Xianglou's life, so things will be much easier to handle. In Zhuyuan continent, as long as the benefits you give are enough, people will naturally come forward to help you achieve your goals." "What do you need me to do?" asked the palace master of Xuanhuan Palace. "This person is the person that Xianxia specially told to respect. He is the person of the 9th heaven that they yearn for. Although he is only a spiritual soul, as long as he is satisfied with the other party, when they want to go to the 9th heaven, he will open the door to the 9th heaven for them. The door is not impossible. Therefore, when the man's soul body comes, the Lord of Xuanhuan Palace allows him to choose a body that he can temporarily live in among the people in Xuanhuan Palace." Unexpectedly, only Lu Xing's body was suitable. Fortunately, Lu Xing had the foresight to agree and temporarily gave his body to the man. "No need." Lu Xing left 2 words and disappeared in a flash. Lu Xing's soul body curled up in a corner of his body. When he knew that the man's goal was actually Yan Xianglou, his eyes flashed. At that time, when the man chose him, he agreed so readily because he knew very well that if he did not agree, the other party would use some coercive means and even destroy his soul. That's why he agreed without hesitation, letting the other person think that he was happy to serve him. But if a man uses his body to offend Yan Xianglou, it would be fine if he succeeds. If he fails, he and Yan Xianglou will become enemies in the future. Xuanhuan cares so much about Yan Xianglou, which is equivalent to becoming friends with Xuanhuan. He had become enemies, and even became enemies with the entire Zhuyuan city. How could he survive on the mainland in the future? At this time, he was extremely conflicted. He didn't want to offend Yan Xiangluo, but he was no match for the man. Now that Xuanhuan was gone, the man had to put Yan Xiangluo to death. He always felt like he was going to be in bad luck. It happens that I understand it very well, but I can't do anything. He prayed in his heart that the man could not find Yan Xiangluo. There was a time limit for his soul body to reside in his body. As long as he could not find Yan Xiangluo within this time and was unable to take action, he would not offend Yan Xiang. Fallen. Perhaps he would be smarter and not do it himself, so that at least no one would know that it was him who touched Ruan Xiangluo. The man went to Zhuyuan City, but he tried his best and couldn't find Yan Xiangluo in Zhuyuan City. Lu Xing's breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, after Xuanhuan entered the first training ground, he saw a desert in front of him, the kind of desert that had no end. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 775. Xuanhuan was surprised to see such a scene when he came in. However, he didn't think much about it and immediately told Yan Xianglatang, "Luoluo, you can send them all out. Since you promised to bring them in, now that they have come in, let them out first and let them experience it individually. It can be considered that the transaction between them is completed." When Yan Xiangluo heard Xuanhuan's words, her thoughts moved, and all the cultivators were sent out of the Pangu space by her. She herself came out with her parents. Everyone who was still practicing 1 second, suddenly the spiritual energy around them dropped sharply. The next second, they all opened their eyes and saw that the space in front of them was not the one they were in before. When they saw Xuanhuan standing in front of them, they all immediately stood up and looked around. "Mr. G, have you come in already?" someone asked. Xuanhuan nodded, "You just came in, and you have to rely on yourselves from now on. You should all know that the training time is only 1 month. After 1 month, the door to the training place will be opened, and everyone will be sent out. Here, you are responsible for your own safety within a month, and your respective opportunities depend on your luck." Although this has been said before, it is necessary to say it again now. He only promised to bring them in and was not responsible for anything else. "We understand, thank you very much, Mr. G." Everyone expressed their opinions one after another. Then each left with his family or companions. There were various directions to leave, and they didn't know much about the first place of training, so they all chose a direction and left. No one asked Xuanhuan how he brought them in, although they all had guesses in their hearts. On the other hand, Chu Junya and Fang 11er said a few words to Xuanhuan and Yan Xiangluo before leaving with their people. Even if they have a good relationship, they still know that they cannot follow them at this time. Everyone knows very well that what kind of opportunities they can have after entering the first experience depends on themselves. Xuanhuan has already brought them in, and they must not follow others to compete for other people's opportunities. The disciples of Xianxia sect did not leave. Seeing that everyone else had left, Deng Changs asked the two of them, "Are you with us or separately?" Yan Xiangluo glanced at Xuanhuan, who said, "Let's go separately." The purpose of his coming in was to help Luoluo break through the 3rd level of the Pangu flower blooming technique. It would be inconvenient for others to arrive at that time. Without being with them, the people of the Xianxia sect can still find their own opportunities freely. This is also a good opportunity for the people of the Xianxia sect to improve themselves. There is no need to discount them because of them. Deng Changs didn't ask any more questions. The two young disciples were not ordinary people. He just told them to be careful in everything and use the sound transmission stone to contact them if there was any danger. They would come over immediately, and left with the people of Xianxia sect. Xuanhuan asked Musixian, Changfeng, and Jin Yutang to find their own opportunities. In the end, only Ruan Xiangluo, Xuanhuan, and Ruan Jinjai were left. The 4 of them had no intention of separating. Their purpose was to help Xianxia break through to the divine level. They agreed that if they were forced to separate, they would each look for opportunities. No need to waste time rushing to find someone. The four of them walked forward together. Xianxia looked at the endless desolation and said, "Where is the place that Ancestor Zimo said?" Zimo told them about his experience of entering the first land of training, and specifically told them to go to a place that was said to be the essence of the first land of training. He did not find it, but only those who had been there came out. People's cultivation levels have increased dramatically. Xuanhuan said, "Let's take a walk first." Concubine Xianxia said, "Have you noticed that those who left can no longer be seen in just a moment? There are so many people and they haven't used any spiritual power. Why are they like this, almost disappearing?" Xuanhuan said, "It should be that the training ground automatically separated people, but I don't know whether it separated them all, or just divided most people into small groups. We need to be more careful. In case we are separated from each other, we need to be vigilant. The first thing is to protect yourself." Wan Xianxia, his wife, and Xianxia both nodded. To be called the first place of training, it must not be an ordinary place, and Zimo said, "This is not a place where people from the 9UN continent can come in, people from other higher continents can also come in, and people from the 9 heavens can also come in." Can come in. Needless to say, the danger of such a training place must be beyond their imagination. Xianxia has only experienced one secret realm in Tianqian continent. This is the second secret realm she has entered. As the four of them were talking, the scene in front of them changed. The previously desolate world turned into a world of green grass, rolling hills, forests, and rich spiritual energy in the blink of an eye. "Is the place of training an illusion?" Xianxia asked. But she didn't hear the reply from her parents and Xuanhuan. She turned to look at Xuanhuan, her almond-shaped eyes suddenly widened. "Where is he?" Looking to the other side, my parents were no longer there. Looking behind me, there was no one there. She immediately understood why those people disappeared so quickly. It turned out that they were deliberately separated by the place of experience, and they were completely separated. Is this place just like the Copper Tower Palace left by the senior brother? Only one person is allowed to experience it? Although she was confused, she also knew that this was the only way to go now. If this was really the case, the purpose of entering the place of training this time might have changed, and she could only rely on herself. She sighed in her heart. Ever since she met her parents and they loved her, and Xuanhuan arranged everything, she had forgotten her original intention and didn't rely on anyone. Now the facts tell her that, indeed, the only one she can rely on is herself. After sighing, she continued walking forward. Since it is a place of training, there must be dangers everywhere. She let go of her spiritual consciousness to guard the surroundings, and also called the clouds out of the space and placed them on her shoulders. Although Xuanhuan is still a palm-sized dumpling, she has regained the strength of the divine beast and is her most powerful help at critical moments. She didn't have a war beast before, but now her cloud has been directly upgraded from a spiritual pet to a divine beast, becoming a being that surpasses war beasts. She is also a confident person. "Xuanhuan, have you been here before?" Xianxia asked as he walked. Xuanhuan squatted on Xianxia's shoulder and looked around. "Come in, master, this is the Peace Valley, a place of training, and it is also a place of training. Only after passing the Valley of Peace can you continue to train in other places." "Peace Valley? Where is the valley here?" Xianxia looked at the front and asked in confusion. "Peace Valley is just a name, I don't know its specific location, but just keep walking forward and Peace Valley will appear at any time," Xuanhuan explained. "Since it is a place of training, why is it called Peace Valley?" Xianxia became even more confused. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 776. Master, don't be fooled by the name. Although it is called Peace Valley, it is not peaceful. Master will know later, Xuanhuan quickly reminded Xianxia, but he could not say more. Since it is here for training, it has said everything. What training role does it have for the owner? The fragrance fell clearly, and the consciousness became more vigilant, paying careful attention to the front, back, left and right. But after walking for a while, Peace Valley has not yet appeared. Xianxia knew in her heart that the more this happened, the more she could not relax, otherwise it would be impossible to guard against danger if it suddenly appeared. Her current cultivation level is the saint level, which is the bottom line for entry. She doesn't dare to rely on it. She can protect her life here. After walking for a while, it was half an hour since she entered the place of training. Heping Valley still didn't appear, but she did see people. A woman in green clothes saw her and said in surprise, "Oh my God, I finally saw someone. Otherwise, I would have suspected that I was the only one here." Xianxia did not let down her guard, because this person was not the one they brought in. Although they brought in many people, her photographic memory was not a show-off. Known. So who is this woman? It is people from other higher continents, people from the 9 heavens, or it is a test in the Valley of Peace. Her celestial master is very powerful. If it is an illusion, she should be able to sense it immediately. This person is indeed a real person. Thought she had seen her luck. A woman's luck is good, at least good luck. If there is no danger in this experience, she will go through it safely and the harvest will be good. Even so, Xianxia did not relax her vigilance. "Girl, are you alone?" Xianxia asked. "I came in with my brother and friends. They were separated as soon as we came in. I've been walking alone for 3 days and haven't encountered anything. I doubt this place is for training. Why is there no danger at all, let alone what an opportunity? Am I not very lucky?" the woman complained. Xianxia's apricot eyes flashed. She had been here for 3 days, and she was really not from their Xuanhuan continent. Now it turns out that people from other higher continents can indeed come in here. Xianxia no longer needs to use her mind-reading skills specifically. She can hear the other person's voice whenever she wants to, and there is no restriction on people with lower cultivation levels than her. So she heard the woman's voice, "Oh my God, I finally saw someone. I've been scared to death for the past 3 days. I feel like I'm the only one left in the world." Xianxia was speechless. This person is still a strong person, but a strong person. "Girl, you haven't encountered anything in the 3 days since you came here. You are so lucky," Xianxia said with a smile. The woman looked at Xianxia and said, "Are you in danger?" Xianxia shook her head, "Not yet." The woman breathed a sigh of relief and thought to herself, "Fortunately, she is just like me, otherwise I would have suspected that I was out of luck." "My name is Xianxia, what's your name?" the woman said in a familiar voice. Xianxia didn't hide her name either. "Wow, your surname is actually. Is that the same as next to the girl?" Xianxia exclaimed after hearing her name, and looked her up and down several times. Yes, this was the first time someone asked her after hearing her name if she had the character next to the female character in her surname. "Are you from the Yu family, the largest family in mainland China?" Xianxia said in disbelief. No, Xianxia didn't know which continent she was talking about, the Yu family, the first family in the mainland, but she was definitely not from that family. How is it possible? There are only first-class families in mainland China with the surname Pangju, Xianxia said in disbelief. "Girl, is it possible that we are not from the same continent?" Xianxia reminded helplessly. Xianxia was stunned for a moment and asked, "I am from Xi continent. Which continent are you from?" I'm from Xuanhuan continent, Yan Xianglou said matter-of-factly. He Siyun looked at her curiously. Oh my god, I actually met people from other continents. Yan Xianglou shrugged, it's an honor. I didn't expect to meet people from other continents. He Siyun quickly accepted the fact that Yan Xianglou and she were not from the same mainland, and his mind was full of thoughts. I'm so lucky to have met someone from another continent, and she's such a pretty girl. Oh my god, I'm so excited. No, I am relying on her and must practice with her. Just looking at her every day makes me feel very good. Seeing as her cultivation level is at the saint level, it is much lower than mine. I can still protect her when in danger. Her skin is so good, I really want to pinch her face. Is it soft and smooth? Yan Xianglou felt like there were 100 birds chirping in her ears. She didn't expect that He Siyun, who looked very calm, could be such a nonsensical person inside. Miss He, is this your first time coming here to practice? Yan Xianglou quickly interrupted her reverie. As expected, He Siyun's train of thought was led away by Yan Xianglou. No, I came in for the second time. Yan Xianglou's eyes lit up and she immediately asked, then you should be familiar with this place, right? He Siyun suddenly withered, I'm not very lucky. The first time I came in, that's it? I was alone all the time. I walked and walked for a month. I didn't encounter any dangers, let alone opportunities. After a month of going out, the same thing will happen when you go out. If the people who came in together had not improved their cultivation and had adventures, I would have suspected that I had entered a fake place of training. Yu Xianglou is speechless. Can this still be the case? The land of experience will let a person get nothing after entering, and even prevent the other person from encountering danger? Yan Xianglou just casually showed He Siyun's luck path. This time she was curious and used the power of soul control to look at He Siyun's luck path. After seeing her luck, Yan Xianglou was speechless. She wanted to ask He Siyun as soon as possible. This person's luck was so special. He could avoid danger perfectly. This also allowed her to grow up without hardship. But similarly, she would also many opportunities are missed. Would he be affected by her luck if he stayed with her? The purpose of her coming in was to speed up her slowed down cultivation, and then break through the last hurdle of the Pangu flower blooming technique and successfully break through to the level. If you go with He Siyun, you won't encounter nothing, right? Yun Tuan, can you lure He Siyun away? Yan Xianglou used her spiritual consciousness to communicate with Yun Tuan. Yun Tuan said doubtfully, why, wouldn't it be nice to have a companion? Yan Xianglou told Yun Tuan about He Siyun's luck. After hearing this, Yun Tuan said indifferently, Master, don't worry, no one can affect the Master's luck. It was her fate that He Siyun met the Master, otherwise she would come in this time still found nothing. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 777. Yan Xianglou understood the meaning of Yun Tuan's words, which meant that her own destiny was more special. He Siyun's special destiny could not affect her, but she would affect He Siyun. The implication is that it was her luck that He Siyun met her, otherwise her work would have been in vain this time. This puts her at ease. You will have a chance to practice this time. Yan Xianglou looked at He Siyun with some pity. Had it not been for him, He Siyun would have come in for nothing this time. He Siyun said carelessly, I also think this time will be different. I haven't met you now. I think you are my lucky star. I will definitely be able to practice this time. Yan Xianglou was speechless. She admired He Siyun's happy attitude. If she might have collapsed, she was still so satisfied. How often can people from your mainland come in? Yan Xianglou asked. It can only be opened once a year, He Siyun sighed. How many people can come in? Yan Xianglou asked again. There is no limit to the number of people, as long as the cultivation level is above the holy level, He Siyun said. Yan Xianglou Xingmu paused for a moment. Their Xi continent can be opened once a year, while Xuanhuan continent can only be opened once every 3 years, and there is no limit on the number of people, as long as their cultivation is at the saint level. The Ninefold continent opens once every 3 years, and only one person can enter. In this comparison, aren't there more powerful people in Xi continent than in Xuanhuan continent? Looking at it this way, the Ninefold continent is probably at the bottom among the higher continents in terms of strength. I just don't know what the other higher continents are like. Their door to the 9 heavens from the Ninefold continent has been sealed for 30,000 years. People go to the 9th heaven. Yu Xiongluo's heart felt a little heavy. Are there many people from your mainland going to Zhikongtian? Yan Xiongluo asked sideways. She cannot say that the door from Xuanhuan continent to Zhikongtian is sealed. Not many. Many people try every year, but very few succeed. It takes hundreds of years for someone to succeed, He Siyun said carelessly. Yan Xiongluo got to know the powerful people in Xi continent, and also learned that the door to the 9 heavens in Xi continent was not sealed. It seems that we still have to find a way to open the sealed door. The two of them walked forward while chatting. Yan Xiongluo kept letting go of her mental strength, always alert to the peace valley that might appear at any time. He Siyun looked as absent-minded as if she was just having fun. After all, she had been here for a month before, and she had been walking alone on the road. She had not encountered any opportunities or experience, and she just left the way she came in. Hence, she didn't think she would have any luck this time, but fortunately she met someone, at least she wouldn't be bored on the road, and she wasn't walking alone this time. Therefore, she chatted with Yan Xiongluo and explained her family background clearly without using any clichés. After all, no one has spoken to her for 3 days. Yan Xiongluo is also happy to have a companion to go with. As for when the experience of Peace Valley will appear, it depends on fate. You just came in, so it's good to get used to it first and then start practicing. The two of them walked like this. After an hour, He Siyun stopped and said to Yan Xiongluo, "Do you think this place is strange?" Yan Xiongluo raised her eyes and glanced ahead. "What's so strange?" "It's been an hour since we met and we've been walking for an hour." "Why is the mountain in front still the same distance as an hour ago?" He Siyun asked in confusion. Yan Xiongluo naturally knew the reason, because the place they were in was the Peace Valley. The experience in the Peace Valley was randomly carried out. They didn't know when it would appear. It was normal for them to not be able to reach the mountain for an hour. After all, the experience was nothing. I don't know if I'm in Shanli or not. It is normal even if there is no movement at all. Perhaps this is also a kind of experience, Yan Xiongluo said. He Siyun didn't know the existence of Peace Valley, and there was no need for her to tell her the information she knew. The other party may not necessarily be grateful to her, on the contrary, it will cause a lot of trouble. If He Siyun asked her how she knew, how would she explain? He Siyun sighed, "How about we separate?" She felt that she was a little optimistic before, thinking that meeting someone this time would change her destiny, but now it seems that she feels that it is her destiny that has hindered Yan Xiongluo. Yan Xiongluo looked at her in surprise. "Why?" He Siyun let out a long sigh. "I think my luck is not very good. When I came in last time, I didn't encounter any opportunities and I didn't get any experience. My cultivation level was the same when I came in as when I left. Before, I thought that this time your destiny may have changed, but now it seems that if you follow me, you will be implicated. It is not easy to come in. Who doesn't want to practice hard to improve his cultivation and strength? I can't implicate you." Yan Xiongluo didn't expect He Siyun to have such a big heart. He wanted to separate from her because he was afraid of implicating her. He would rather walk alone for a month than implicate her, a stranger. Such people are kind-hearted at heart, but she is some like her. Yan Xiongluo smiled brightly and said, "Things should be better." Maybe my good luck will be passed on to you. This time you will not come in vain. You will definitely get experience and get your own opportunities. Hsiyun's eyes suddenly lit up after hearing her words. You are such a good person, so I'll lend you a good word and save yourself from being laughed at by them again. But if you get implicated by me, don't blame me, I've let you go because you don't want to go. Yan Xiangluo smiled and said, if I am really implicated by you, I will definitely not blame you. I don't want to leave. This sentence was just a joke. Yan Xiangluo knew very well what he came here to do, and he would never implicate himself in losing the opportunity to experience because of anyone. The reason why he didn't separate from Hsiyun was because Yun Tuan said that his own destiny would change Hsiyun's, but would not affect him. In this case, she also wants to have a companion on the road to experience, especially a girl who is very close to her heart. As soon as the words were spoken, Hsiyun also became cheerful. Her emotions came and went quickly, and she had a straightforward temperament. Hsiyun took out the snacks he had prepared and handed them to Yu Xiangluo. It's not interesting to walk like this. Let's eat while walking. My mother prepared these for me. My mother is a spiritual chef. She has a very high level and makes delicious food. There are almost no impurities, and it won't be a problem for us monks to eat it, and it won't cause any burden to the body. Yan Xiangluo looked at the various snacks in Hsiyun's hand and confirmed that she was a foodie just like herself. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 778. The last time I came in, I walked alone for a month without preparing any food. It was very boring. This time my mother made a lot of food for me. Even for the two of us, it was enough for a month. He generously stuffed the food into Yan Xiangluo's hand. Yan Xiangluo shared Hsiyun's snacks without ceremony, and did not forget to take out the various snacks she made to share with Hsiyun. But she didn't make many snacks. After all, she didn't have that much time to spend on making food. Hsiyun ate the snacks made by Yan Xiangluo, and his joy was not concealed at all. Oh my god, Xiangluo, you are so awesome. How old are you? How come you have such a high level of cooking skills? Yan Xiangluo smiled and said, because I am a foodie. If I am not used to eating food made by others, I can only study it myself. Hsiyun instantly wilted. Although the words used by Yan Xiangluo, a foodie, were new, they felt very appropriate. I am also a foodie, and my mother is also a very high-level spiritual chef. Why don't I have the talent to become a spiritual chef? Each one has his or her own strengths. Yan Xiangluo didn't take it seriously. After all, everyone was good at different things. That's right. Although I don't know how to cook, my talent in alchemy is pretty good. Hsiyun instantly became happy again. Yan Xiangluo really didn't know that Hsiyun was an alchemist, but she wisely avoided the topic and did not ask her what level of alchemist she was. After all, she was already a god-level alchemist. If Hsiyun asked her to tell the truth, it would be a huge blow to her. If you don't tell the truth, I feel a little sorry for this cheerful girl. She didn't ask, but Hsiyun wanted to continue this topic. After all, there were more topics in the field he was good at. Xiangluo, what level of elixirs do you bring? Hsiyun asked, meaning that if the elixirs obtained by Yu Xiangluo were of a lower level than those she refined, she would give her some elixirs. What she lacks most is pills. Yan Xiangluo is worried about how to answer this question. At this moment, the ground around them trembled, and the two of them looked at each other at the same time. This question was interrupted by the arrival of the experience of Peace Valley. As Yang Xiang breathed a sigh of relief, she completely relaxed her consciousness and sensed her surroundings. Hsiyun said excitedly, is the danger finally coming? Xiangluo, you are indeed my lucky star. Yan Xiangluo's mouth twitched. Why did this sound so awkward? It was dangerous to be with him, and he regarded himself as a lucky star. This kind of thing happened to Hsiyun, and it was a special case. But she also discovered that although Xianxia was very excited, her mental power had been released. Yan Xiangluo understood clearly that Xianxia's cultivation level was several levels higher than hers, so he was certainly not a little white flower who didn't understand anything. She didn't pay much attention to Xianxia, and focused her consciousness on the trembling ground around her. The tremors were not very violent, and there were no signs of the earth dragon turning over. Yan Xiangluo was a little confused as to what the fuss was about. Isn't it just an experience? Why not just expose what kind of danger it is? At this moment, she sensed that something was about to break out of the ground in front of her. Xianxia also sensed it and said to Ruan Xiangluo, "There is something under the ground." Yan Xiangluo nodded, "I've sensed it too, so be careful." Xianxia suddenly had a long sword in his hand. The jasper-like long sword looked extremely sharp. At first glance, he knew that it was not an ordinary weapon. Yan Xiangluo didn't rush to take out her weapon. After all, she didn't know what she was facing. She didn't have the same weapon. Only when she saw the specific danger would she know which weapon was more appropriate to use. Yan Xiangluo found that the mountains in the distance became blurred, and the surrounding trees and flowers receded in all directions. Then, she felt something emerging from the ground. Xianxia exclaimed, "What is this?" Yan Xiangluo was speechless, her almond-shaped eyes staring closely at the things that appeared in front of them. Statues of various shapes rose from the ground and were arranged in front of them in the shape of a square array. It looked like a formation, but it was very different from ordinary formations. Yan Xiangluo was very accomplished in formations, which she could still tell. The layout in front of her immediately reminded her of chess. Although there are some differences, they are similar. It's just that the chessboard in front of you is a bit big and the chess pieces are very vivid. What kind of formation is this? Does experience also test one's chess skills? Yan Xiangluo looked at the huge chessboard in front of her in puzzlement, and examined it with her spiritual consciousness. At this time, Xianxia said in shock, "Is this an ancient chess formation?" Yan Xiangluo was stunned after hearing Xianxia's words, "Ancient chess formation?" She suddenly remembered that when she was learning formations from her father told her a lot of ancient formations, but because she didn't have the opportunity to practice them, she could only understand many formations, and some of them couldn't even be set up. Like the current ancient chess formation. Although the gentleman's formation that I encountered in the secret realm of Tianqian continent is known as the most difficult formation to break, it is incomparable to the damage caused by formations from ancient times. After being shocked, Xianxia asked Xiangluo in a low voice, "Xiangluo, I can't play chess, not any chess, let alone ancient chess. Can you do it?" She really doesn't know how to do it. She is not good at chess at all, and she has no confidence in the experience in front of her. "I know a little bit, but I don't know how to play the big chess game in front of me." "Do you know the formation?" Yan Xiangluo asked her again after answering. Xianxia shook his head, "I am an alchemist, not an array master." Yan Xiangluo's mouth twitched. Who said that an alchemist cannot be an formation master? She is not only an alchemist but also an formation master, a mysterious pattern master, and a heavenly master. Thinking of this, Yan Xiangluo suddenly felt that she could really be arrogant. His thoughts just ran away for a while and then came back. Yan Xiangluo knew that it was impossible for Xianxia to break this level, and he couldn't rely on her, so he had to find a way on his own. The dark eyes of Xuanhuan squatting on her shoulders turned, "Master, you have encountered the strongest experience in the Peace Valley." Yan Xiangluo used her spiritual consciousness to communicate with Xuanhuan, "Can you break this formation?" Xuanhuan shook his head and said, "This is a test for monks like you, Master. If I go in, I can walk unobstructed without breaking the formation. There is no formation here at all, just statues placed one by one there. It's useless against all spiritual beasts, Yan Xianglou asked curiously. Yun Tuan's arrogant voice came, Master, I am a divine beast. How can a spiritual beast compare to me? Yuan Xianglou was speechless. This emotional experience was only for monks and had no effect on other people's mythical beasts. The only way is to break the formation. Yan Xianglou knew that when he came in he was practicing, and the ancient chess formation in front of him was just the beginning. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 779. Yan Xianglou knew a thing or two about ancient chess and formations, but she couldn't tell where the formation eyes were in the formation in front of her. How could she break the formation if she couldn't find the formation openings? The voice of the clouds sounded again, Master, release the sky. Only then did Yan Xianglou think of Zetian. Yun Tuan had said that Zetian could grow up quickly here. If he had enough experience and a good opportunity, Zetian could become a divine plant. She first communicated with Jishan and told her that there was someone outside and told her to keep a low profile. Jishan said that she understood. With a thought, Yan Xianglou released Zetian, quietly turning into an inconspicuous green hairpin and inserting it into her bun. Hsiyun didn't feel it at all. Hsiyun was worried at this time. Why is the experience I encountered different from that of my brother and the others? Is it really because of my luck? You just don't want me to experience it here. Yan Xianglou smiled and said, then don't think about it. There is no movement in the formation yet. It is giving us time to think. Hsiyun suddenly wailed, is my luck so bad? I've already met you, do you still want me to stay here alone? Yan Xianglou understood the meaning of her words. Hsiyun felt that she did not know chess skills and could not break the formation. If she could not break the formation, she would not be able to continue. And if she breaks the formation and continues on, the two of them will inevitably separate, and her destiny will return to the same loneliness as before until the end of this month's experience. Having hope and then being disappointed, no matter how lively and cheerful her character is, she cannot bear it. Yan Xianglou comforted her and said, I didn't say that I had to do it alone to break the formation, and I'm not sure either. Let's go together. You don't know chess skills or formations. I happen to understand, and with your fighting ability he is stronger than me. If we work together to break the formation, we should be able to pass the experience of this place. Hsiyun suddenly became happy again after hearing what Yan Xianglou said. He suddenly picked her up and spun her around several times. Xianglou, you are so kind. You are really my lucky star. Why are you not from our Xi continent? Otherwise, we can definitely always be friends. Yan Xianglou was helpless. She struggled a little and got out of Hsiyun's arms. This was the first time she was held up by a woman like this. It doesn't matter, we work hard and we can still be friends even if we go to Zhekongtian. Hsiyun wilted again, can I go to the ninth heaven? She really has no confidence in her talent and strength. She knew, however, that it took hundreds of years for one or two people in the world's sea continent to successfully ascend to the nine heavens. Yan Xianglou patted her shoulder and said, as long as you have a goal and work hard, you will definitely achieve it. Hsiyun nodded when he heard the words, you have to have faith in me. I don't have any luck, but I can avoid all bad things. As long as I practice hard, maybe I can go to the ninth heaven. The corner of Yan Xianglou's mouth twitched, and she had to admit that Hsiyun had a really good attitude and was too easy to persuade. Then how do we contact each other if we go to Zhekongtian? Hsiyun asked. Yan Xianglou's face was covered with black lines. She wanted to say, girl, you are too naive. I am saying this to comfort you. Can't you hear it? Let's not talk about whether we can go to Zhekongtian. Even if we can go, we still don't know when and what month. You think it is quite far away. But he couldn't bear to give up her message, so he said, whoever goes first should leave a message under the evergreen tree, so that we can know whether the other party is coming, and then know where he is. Hsiyun nodded and said, it's a deal. Looking at Hsiyun's serious tone, Yan Xiangluo really had expectations in her heart, and she said sincerely, it's a deal. The fate between people is so simple. Just when we first meet, we feel like old friends at first sight, just like she and Fang 11er. Yan Xiangluo really hopes to meet Hsiyun in Zhekongtian. Even if she does not go to Zhekongtian, if she goes to Zhekongtian earlier than Hsiyun, she will have a way to go to the Death Sea continent, and then she can still visit her. As the two of them talked, they felt less nervous. The formation was just as Yan Xiangluo said. About a quarter of an hour later, there was movement. The two people who were originally standing outside the formation were sucked into the middle by the powerful suction force of the formation. Hsiyun was startled and followed Yan Xiangluo closely, deciding in his mind that he would beat her however Yan Xiangluo asked her to do, and he would do whatever he asked her to do. As long as you can pass the formation smoothly, you can do anything. She really didn't know that there was such a way to experience here. After all the experiences of the monks who entered here could not be told. Even though her brothers had come in many times, she still knew nothing about this place. At this time, the two of them were standing at the boundary of the chessboard. Both sides were full of vivid chess pieces. The chess pieces on one side had begun to move, but the chess pieces on the other side were motionless. Yan Xiangluo understood that the chess pieces that had started to move were the enemy's chess pieces, and the chess pieces that had not moved were their chess pieces. Does it mean that in order to break this ancient chess formation, we must defeat the enemy? But how do they control these chess pieces? Yan Xiangluo used his spiritual consciousness to cover the entire formation, and looked at the entire chess game from above to see if there were any patterns in the movement direction of the enemy's chess pieces, and then looked at his own chess pieces. She pulled Hsiyun up into the air and hovered on their side of the chess piece. Try to see if you can control the chess pieces with your spiritual power, Yan Xiangluo asked Hsiyun. Since it is a chess game, it must be a battle between chess pieces. They need to be able to control the chess pieces in order to fight the opponent's chess pieces. Since it is an experience, they should use spiritual power to control the chess pieces, but it is not clear how to control them and how to fight them. After hearing what Yan Xiangluo said, Hsiyun immediately used her spiritual power to control the nearest chess piece in front of her, which was also the soldier at the front. But no matter how much spiritual power she used, the soldiers couldn't move. Xiangluo, I can't control it with my spiritual power, Hsiyun said to Xiangluo. Yan Xiangluo's apricot eyes flashed very fast, which also meant that her brain was spinning rapidly, trying to think of a solution. You try to stand on the chess piece and control it. Yan Xiangluo's apricot eyes suddenly lit up. After hearing what she said, Hsiyun landed on a chess piece. Sure enough, this time she could control the chess piece with her spiritual power. The soldier walked around, waved his arms and made some gestures. Sure enough. Yan Xiangluo also tried it herself, landing on a chess piece and using her spiritual power to control it. However, she found that only one of them could control the chess piece. At the same time, the one who controlled it first could control the chess piece, but the other could not. In other words, the two of them can only override the chess pieces to fight. She remembered that ancient chess was not about moving step by step, and she immediately understood how to break the formation. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 780. Yan Xiangluo said to Hsiyun, the two of us cannot control the chess pieces at the same time. Only one of us can control the chess pieces. Do you think this will work? I will direct how to fight, and you will control the chess pieces to fight. In this way, each of us can use what we have longer, it's easier to break the formation. Xianxia said without hesitation, okay. She won't break the formation anyway, so she can still fight. Her cultivation strength is higher than that of Yan Xiangluo, so this arrangement is just right. She wouldn't think that Yan Xiangluo was trying to be lazy with this arrangement, because she knew very well that those who can only fight are the most powerful ones. At this time, they were as if they were on a battlefield. Yan Xiangluo was the commander-in-chief, directing the army how to fight, and she was the general, responsible for charging into the battle. That's the only good thing about her, she can recognize her position and accept it happily. Seeing that Xianxia agreed, Yan Xiangluo said without any objection, just being able to control the chess pieces is not enough. You must be able to flexibly control the chess pieces. To achieve the goal of the chess pieces becoming like ourselves, that is, we need human chess. Only by uniting can we be sure to win. After hearing what she said, Xianxia understood what she meant. I understand. As soon as she finished speaking, she began to contact the super control chess pieces, and quickly adapted herself to the flexible control of the chess pieces. After the control was flexible, she began to try to control the chess pieces to fight in various postures. Just like her normal fighting. Yan Xiangluo was suspended in mid-air, looking at the opponent's chess pieces. The battle was bound to begin, but who would start first, them or the opponent? While thinking, she also used a ray of consciousness to watch how Xianxia controlled the chess pieces. She never put any hope in anyone. The experience in the Peace Valley before her was her first experience in the place of experience, and it was definitely not just a test of her wisdom. The more she faced this critical moment, the calmer she became. Yan Xiangluo observed her for a long time. She often played ancient chess with her father when she was a child. When she was living alone in another world, due to physical reasons, she could only do some entertainment that did not consume physical strength, and playing chess was one of them. When grandma was alive, she often played chess and go with her. Her chess skills are quite good, not because she is modest, but because her father and her grandmother from another life often lost to her. But that was all before the age of 10, whether here or in another world. 6 years have passed. Although she has a photographic memory, she still needs time to think carefully after such a long time. The enemy chess pieces on the opposite side have been moving but not attacking. It seems that they need to take the initiative to attack. Since this gives her time to think about strategic methods, her opponents are not her father and her grandmother from another life, but the experience space. Since it is the strongest experience in Peace Valley, this chess game is not so easy to break, nor is it so easy to win. Xianxia knew that the only thing he could do was fight, so he worked very hard to practice how to control the chess pieces. Half an hour passed, and Yan Xiangluo saw that Xianxia was already able to control the chess pieces skillfully, and she also knew how to control the chess pieces. At this moment, a few words appeared in the sky above the chessboard where they were sitting, and the 1-hour countdown began. Yan Xiangluo and Xianxia were both stunned. There is still a time limit for the relationship to break down. Yan Xiangluo asked, "What will happen if we fail during the experience?" Xianxia said, "This is the first training space in the mainland. If you fail to practice in it, you will fall into a deep sleep. There will be no other opportunities for training. When 1 month is up, you will be sent directly out of the training space." Yan Xiangluo was speechless. It was the first time she discovered that there was such a space for experience. In the past, some of the experience spaces were just a question of how much results you gained after you failed in the experience, and some were simply wiped out if you failed in the experience. This was the first time I heard that if you failed in the experience, you would fall into a deep sleep and be sent out directly when the time was up. So why is it said that the mortality rate is very high in the first experience space? No one with a holy level cultivation level is allowed to come in. In that case, why do you still say that the mortality rate here is very high? Yan Xianglou asked in confusion. He Xiyun said, that's because there are opportunities for experience here, and there are many treasures, and they are all treasures that are inaccessible on the mainland. Anyone can fight for their head. There are many people coming in, and in the process of fighting for it is difficult for people with low cultivation level to save their lives, and even those with a holy level cultivation level are difficult to survive, and many people die in the fight. Yan Xianglou understood that this was not only a place of experience but also a place to test human nature. It was the same in any secret realm. There would be many people fighting to the death for the so-called treasures and suffering heavy casualties. Those who have cultivated above the saint level have a better chance of saving their lives. Even if the situation is bad, they still have time to escape, and the mortality rate will be reduced a lot. Time is limited, not much. We must start fighting immediately. It takes an hour to break the formation. It is not easy for my current level. Yu Xianglou glanced at the suspension, and the time above the chessboard was opposite. He Xiyun said. He Xiyun nodded, I understand, just give the command with confidence. If you say 1, I won't say 2. If you ask me to go east, I will never go west and I will definitely obey your orders. Yan Xianglou nodded and immediately gave the first order, the second soldier from the left attacks. After receiving the order, He Xiyun immediately controlled the second soldier from the left to attack. She did not reserve any strength, and the first attack went smoothly, killing the soldier on the opposite side directly. The killed soldiers simply disappeared. The chessboard is also missing one piece. They attack once, and the next attack will be the opponent's. The opponent immediately killed their soldiers who had just crossed the boundary river, and another chess piece was missing from the chessboard. He Xiyun was a little anxious when he saw it, but Yan Xianglou was not in a hurry and calmly directed her to fight. Because of the time limit, Yan Xianglou kept directing the battle. There were fewer and fewer chess pieces on the chessboard, and both sides suffered heavy losses. He Xiyun's combat effectiveness is also declining. After all, not everyone can withstand such continuous and high-intensity consumption of spiritual power. Even though she had taken the restoration pill, her combat effectiveness had dropped a lot at this time. However, the recovery pill cannot be eaten as jelly beans. Eating too much is not good for the body. After all, her alchemist level is not yet at the level where there is no erysipelas. It is not easy to remove the single erysipelas from the body. If it accumulates too much, it will affect your cultivation. This is also the reason why monks will not take elixirs unless absolutely necessary. The battle has entered the final stage, and it will soon be known who wins and who loses, and the time suspended above is also shortening. Yan Xianglou said to He Xiyun, you rest, I'll come.